Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update, sponsored by Tax Network USA, America's #1 choice for tax resolution. Please go to tnusa.com/bill or call 800-245-6000. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. Here's what's happening today in America. Executive order, COVID fraud, fast food minimum wage, and giant flying venomous spiders. Awesome. It's all coming up. And Bill's going to be here with your message of the day. But first, don't be fooled by Biden's executive order on the border. On the first day of his presidency, he stopped building the wall and stopped all deportations. He could have done nothing with the border these last 3.5 years and been fine, but he indeed opened the border, but now thinks he can trick people into thinking he's tough on illegal immigration. This was 5 months also after he said he had no executive authority on the border. Now all of a sudden he does. He said they will stop accepting asylum requests at 2,500 a day. That's still 1 million people, and those are just asylum requests. It doesn't say anything about people who just run across the border. Biden has had 1.7 million known gotaways. He said, for those who say the steps I've taken are too strict, I say to you that be patient, and the goodwill of the American people is wearing thin right now. Doing nothing is not an option. There's a trial right now against people who, they claim, committed the largest pandemic relief fraud, $250 million, through this Minnesota nonprofit Feeding Our Future, which was about a child nutrition program, but it wasn't. $250 million in COVID fraud. But check this out. The day before the closing arguments, a juror got a knock on the door, 9 o'clock at night, and someone said, "This is for you. Say not guilty tomorrow, and there will be more of this present tomorrow." What was in the bag? $120,000 cash. The juror turned it in. A popular California restaurant chain, a delicious one, Rubio's, they make fish tacos, has closed 1/3 of their locations, 48, after a review of its operations and the current business climate. This is 2 months after California raised the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20. This seems like an overly dramatic headline, but I don't know. We'll see. CBS News, giant venomous flying spiders with 4-inch legs headed to New York as they spread across the East Coast. So I live in Cicada Town. It was super loud, but nothing was venomous. The Joro spider, females have a leg span of 4 inches, bright yellow bodies, and they fly as well, which is great. Fortunately, the venom is not poisonous for humans, only the insects that they eat. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. The great Bill O'Reilly, he's got your message of the day. Next.
If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Wednesday, as Americans slide into summer, many are deeply troubled by the power structure in Washington and some state capitals. The essential problem, change for the worse. A decade ago, it would have been unthinkable for any elected official to open the southern border, to champion grievance among minorities, promote trans participation in women's sports, or tout the nobility of unfettered abortion. But today, the Democratic Party and its standard bearer, Joe Biden, promote all of those things and many other far-left policies as well. And Biden might well be reelected. If that happens, the steep decline the nation is experiencing will accelerate. The Wall Street Journal warns this week that the U.S. military is rapidly declining in the face of serious threats from Russia and China. President Biden is MIA on the military situation, as he is on almost everything. This is not a partisan analysis. This is a warning. According to polling, almost half of American adults are willing to vote for Joe. Yes, Trump hatred plays into that, but more Joe is a disaster lock for the United States. Don't want to scare anyone, but reality is calling. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Let's go to the mail. We got George, concierge member. The illegal from Venezuela who shot the 2 New York City cops proves we need stricter gun laws. It should be illegal for any migrant to have a gun in New York City. I think George is being sarcastic here. It is illegal for anybody, not just a migrant, to have a gun in New York State. It's almost impossible to get a carry here. Almost impossible. But the fact is that all the criminals have guns because the judges and the DAs let them out. They don't prosecute them. John, also a concierge member, direct line to me. An illegal alien shoots 2 New York City police officers. Joe Biden and Kathy Hochul will blame guns. That's what they always do. Of course they will. Of course, that's the game. John Rossetti, Knoxville, Tennessee. Why did Trump refuse to testify in court? Because the prosecution would ask them all about Stormy Daniels and all about everything else, every tawdry thing they could think of. The judge would have allowed it. And why does any human being want to sit there and take that battering? And then the press would have run with it. You know what would have happened? It would have been a zoo. And then there's always the perjury trap. Got to watch it. Terry Christopher, Poughkeepsie, New York. Now that the Democrats have hung the convicted felon sign around Trump's neck, will the presidential pardon, you suggest, O'Reilly, remove that sign? Yes, if you're pardoned, okay, you're no longer a convicted felon. You're pardoned. You're a pardoned felon, if you want to just do semantics. Debbie Canyo, Galena, Missouri. Is there any way to stop President Biden's executive orders? Yeah, there's a way. Congress passes a law that overrides the order. But then Biden probably would veto the law. But it very rarely happens. In a moment, something you might not know. Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 20 years ago today, President Ronald Reagan died at his home in Southern California. The 93-year-old had an extraordinary career that began in Hollywood, culminating in the White House. Here is his story. Born 1911 in Illinois, young Ronald began acting in high school. He then moved to Los Angeles, where he worked as an extra for Warner Brothers. He soon landed roles in small films like Dark Victory, Storm Warning, and The Killers. After World War II, Reagan served as president of the Screen Actors Guild, where he fought a public campaign against communism. Then he was elected as governor of California and served 1966 to 1975. 4 years later, the Republican announced a run for the White House. Ronald Reagan won the presidency with an electoral landslide, 489 to 49. President Jimmy Carter carried just 5 states. 2 months after his inauguration, Ronald Reagan was shot in the chest by a would-be assassin outside a D.C. hotel. He barely escaped with his life. In 1984, Reagan won an even bigger margin. 525 electoral votes for Reagan, 13 for Walter Mondale. During his 2 terms in office, the Gipper led the USA out of record-high inflation, rebuilt the military, launched an arms race that ultimately bankrupted the Soviet Union. Ronald Reagan died in 2004 after a 10-year battle with Alzheimer's disease. And here's something else you might not know. The president was one of the first famous figures to publicly acknowledge a battle with dementia. He confirmed the diagnosis in an open letter published 10 years before his death. Wrote the 83-year-old Reagan then, quote, "I now begin the journey that will lead me into the sunset of my life. I know that for America there will always be a bright dawn ahead." For more incredible stories about America's chief executives, all of them, please check out my upcoming book, Confronting the Presidents, out September 10th. Back after this. Your safety is important, and I am happy to introduce you to Byrna, a self-defense solution that will help keep you and your family safe. Byrna offers a powerful, non-lethal pistol with tear gas, pepper, irritants, and kinetic projectiles that disable attackers for 30 to 40 minutes. It's all legal in every state, and no background checks are required. And they ship directly to your door, very private. They are American-made in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and are trusted by U.S. government agencies and hundreds of police departments. If you are a gun owner, you need options. Avoid the complexities that come with taking a life and having to defend your freedom in court. And if you're adverse to firearms, Byrna is a good alternative solution. So please visit Byrna.com/Bill. to receive a 10% discount. That's BYRNA.com/Bill. Stay safe with Byrna. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.